All right, everyone. 7 people already in here. Let's see. On YouTube. Good. We are live.
Great.
Everybody, welcome back. What a week we already have behind again with AI. It's never stopping. And, well, as you might have seen already, we started slowly pivoting the podcast channel into the main channel, and we also upgraded the way we will do these podcasts by sharing the screens and talking about how our setups and what we discovered in the past week for ourselves and how we leverage AI in our productivity systems and how connect things together. Well, you will see. But over time, this is really exciting. So in fact, we extracted a part of our agenda meeting, our weekly agenda meeting between Paco and me now into this podcast, because every week we've been sharing all the things that we discovered. And now we will share it openly with you too. So, Paco, how was your week?
Well,
asking a business owner with 4 businesses this question.
It was quite intense. Yeah, that's like the right wording, challenge, intense. Well, it was a fucking nightmare. That was the that's the ICOR terminology. Yeah, that's the ICOR term for this type of weeks. Okay, that we just talking plain text. Okay, not even markdown. And but well, no, beautiful, and also about how we are growing our own productivity systems. I mean, all that.
Well, by the way, not only the productivity system, let's celebrate all together. We just reached over 3,000 members in myICOR, which is really amazing. We started with
and growing because the speed is it's amazing. I'm just gonna check it out right now because
we are 3,147 members, and if you sign up now, you will be the next. Yeah, this is amazing.
3,150. But the thing is that, the last time I saw it, it was this morning, and I think it was below 3,100, and right now we have 3,147. Amazing. Also, the online people, 52. I can't remember those times in where only 2 poor guys named Tom and Paco were online.
And now we have currently 52 people online here. Yeah. So amazing. Thanks so much for all of you joining us on this journey. Because we are on this together. It's really, it's all new. Every week there are new things that we discover as well as you do. And we really appreciate you guys being with us on there and seeing how well a foundation with ICOR, having a productivity system end to end, is really helps you to build AI on top. And well, we never been so certain about this. We knew it all the past. It is for us no change. It was, I just said it to Paco. There are people out there saying, yeah, don't worry, we have time. AI is just hype. People are overhyping this and so on. Then there are other people saying you can't make money with AI. It's not worth investing even the $20 per month. And we see what we do with AI every day. Just checks, okay? Is our AI agent that you all know now inside the community that you can reach out to. And these responses that you get, I'm always shocked because Paco and I, we really always provided comprehensive replies to all the questions that we got, but with over 3,000 members, this is not possible anymore, obviously. And Jax is really, he understands not only what ICOR is, but he understands all the articles and videos that we have published, the courses, and all the conversations between the different members and replies that we gave before. So Jax is not only replying with a standard phrase, but he links people to conversations that are relevant to this and tell me at least currently, any of the Circle, Mighty, or School memberships out there that you have anything like this. You have a community manager in there, which is still human, who tries to find the things for you. And when I just consider hiring a person, training the person on the things, being just online for a few hours and not 24/7, just this alone is insane. And now you say, but I don't have a membership, I don't need this. It's just an example that, you know, you can always use this as a personal assistant for yourself, managing your emails, what is coming in, triaging what is really urgent to look at. So many things that shifted in the past month for the two of us, where we had solid systems in place to triage and manage all the things, that now just removed all the friction from these things is insane. And those reaching out via the chat inside the myICOR or sending us emails to the support might have noticed it's also now Jack's replying there. And he is perfectly aware, is this something that needs to get escalated or not? And it forwards it to me to reply, or he replies. And whenever I see something that he should do in the future, I just tell Jax, next time, point the people to this link. And this is something where we have more than 3,000 people, and it will be 30,000 people, and we will still be able to manage all this. And this is the craziest thing. It's only Paco and me, right? It's still only Paco and me building all this, the content and all this, plus an AI team of, well, just on my side, 30 agents, and Paco has his own, how many? 20?
I don't know, 20 something. Whatever. Yeah, 20 something. Well, I have no clue, because this is not a matter of
dynamic
who
thing,
who has the highest number of agents. You know, the thing is, who has a system that really, well, helps the person to better work. And for me, I have made a huge step this week, because I was obsessed about how I communicate with my system, and I didn't want to only communicate through terminal, because I wanted to make a conversation. And as we know, for us, the reference as a team communication tool has always been Slack. It's something that we miss a lot, no matter that we are working on ClickUp in the project management area in the paperless movement, you know, and we are using the ClickUp chat, but we are missing a lot the amazing experience that Slack has brought to the table since day one. And why not using that tool to interact with your system, you know, because you can receive notifications there. And the thing is that the moment that you receive any message, you can interact with it. So you can tell the AI to respect the thread rule, okay, that not so many people respect, okay, but if you teach AI, you can see how it always reply inside the thread of a conversation. And the beautiful thing is that I got the context there. So the moment that it delivers any reply, I can reply on the thread, and I'm interacting. It's like going to terminal and putting that message. So with every single interaction, that it's what we have always said, okay, every system. And by doing this implementation,
Paco,
I'm really happy.
You dropped out, so you've been frozen.
Sorry, now I'm back again?
You're back. Just the last sentence.
Perfect. No, I was saying that we have always stated that we need that with every single interaction that we have with any system, okay, it should improve it, okay, naturally, because that's how you get into the refine, okay? Because people think that refine is like you build the system and then you start refining for months. No, refining, this is a loop that is constantly running, and you can make many operations related to refine during the day, okay? Because that's the thing. That's how refine becomes natural, effortlessly, and it's something that you can do single interaction. And by implementing a team communication system using Slack that talk to your AI, you can take advantage of the context that the conversation has to improve it. And I think that that's also impressive, because one of the things that we are missing is what happens when we are on mobile, okay? Because on mobile, I cannot connect to a terminal. Well, You can, obviously, there are tools that you can use to connect to terminal, but well, it's not user-friendly. We can name it, okay? No matter that you have tools, and we can talk about those specific tools because, well, from time to time they are useful, but something that, because at the end we want to have that feeling that you have a partners or 30 partners with you working every single day, no matter the device. And the moment that you bring Slack to the table, you can create amazing conversations naturally on the go. Also, you can approve, for instance, based on outcomes that any process have delivered. You can create a system, a work stream that goes through different statuses, because, for instance, using reactions on Slack, that's something beautiful, okay? That you can represent the different statuses by the reaction emojis that you have on Slack, so you know at any moment the status of any conversation, and you are the one who make the reactions, but also your system. And that's something beautiful when you make a reaction and you see, I don't know, 30 minutes later that the process has run and has delivered another reaction. That's something that, well, removes friction. And that's why we are creating this, because the moment that you can design and implement your own productivity system and you don't use any other tool, it perfectly fits every single need that you have. And that's why we start sharing Tom's system and mine, because they are completely different at all levels. It's just about features, about user interface, about the interactions, the communication system. Everything is different, no matter that we are based in the exact same principles, but the outcome, it's completely different, because the reality of Tom and myself are completely different. And that's what people need to understand, because that's what we are delivering here in myICOR, okay? In the app, in the learning platform that we have built, we tell the people to be independent, okay? To know the concepts, workflows, and how to implement them, but based on their needs. And I think that that's something important, and that's what AI has brought to the table, okay? The exact same way that we say that this, because I don't want to call this vibe coding, okay? Because for me, this is not related to code, no matter that, obviously, if you know about code and all that, you can, well, make things even much more amazing. But the thing is that the exact same way that we don't aim to deliver a system or a tool or a software like Linear, like Slack, like all those big companies, okay? I'm not going to develop an email account, okay? But related to the simple tools that we use, because we have always said the same, no matter how complex our own tools, let's say any PKM tool, like for instance, Heptabase or Tana or whatever, we have only used, I don't know, we always say, even the two of us that are nerdy people, we are using just 50%, because the rest, I don't care. I want something simple that really fits into my life and that I can use on autopilot. So the moment that you take that principle and apply to design your own productivity system is the moment that you are covering all your needs the way you want them to be covered. And that's, for me, the powerful thing about being able to deliver your own solution without knowing exactly the syntax of coding, knowing, well, some concepts, and even not knowing, as I have been watching today, Tom's last video about the journalist system.
Oh, you watched the whole thing?
Yeah, I did. And that's how I am in this crazy day. But the thing is that there, you can perfectly watch that. Obviously, if you know about coding, well, imagine the things that you can deliver. But even without knowing the structure of code or what is the front end, the back end, all those things, what it's a database, what it's indexing a database, all those jargon, okay, you can deliver something that it's pretty useful for you, okay, because this is exactly how can you interact with Excel if you don't know anything about coding? Well, because you know it's possible. So here it's exactly the same, and that's what we want. That's why when we want to remove the people to be afraid about the terminal, why we want the people to be afraid, you know, of Claude Code, and understand that no matter if you are using Cowork, Code, the terminal, or VS Code, whatever the user interface that you use, you can create your own tools.
Yeah. Hello? Now I can't hear you anymore. What happened? Well, that's what I do. I just mute Paco so I can also talk. So, you're back?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, here you are. You're the back. Okay, great. No, fully agree. The thing is, and maybe people have seen quickly how I shared the screen about Paperclip. I will talk about this in a moment. But what I agree with is that, or what people need to become aware is what they are using, how they work, and what are the individual parts they need to outsource. And there was always a problem with getting a team and making people work for your business or for yourself to offload some work. And the issue remains. And now if you try to use AI, you might get some insights using a chatbot, and then you say, oh man, this is amazing. But the moment you build persistent memory and this AI starts growing together with you, this becomes really crazy. And I try now to share my screen and show you quickly checks. Okay, you see my screen. I'm also using this to test if sound works, actually. Let me know.
Mm-hmm. Where did I put that client info? My notes?
No, sound doesn't work. So that's good to know. So next time I have to check it out. But checks, he is learning constantly. So you were referring about that you talk to your AI and so on. And this is here too. I can always tell him things, how to improve himself or find stuff, and therefore you need to have a database. You have a rack system behind, you have embeddings. So if people tell us, yeah, you vibe code something along, yeah, the thing is, we know a bit more than just vibe coding. That's why we also know how less is needed to build something great. And that's what you saw already for the two past videos, the longer ones, where I always tell AI to become simpler. I show live. I didn't cut it out. I didn't make it fancy. And that's what Paco and I start sharing here, is our own use cases, because we see on YouTube so many people telling you all amazing things you can do, but you never see them actually using this in their own businesses and how they use it. And it's the same thing that reminds me of the YouTubers telling you how to do YouTube, and they make money from telling you how to do YouTube, while their experience doing YouTube is just telling other people how to do YouTube. It's the same principle here. So we need to start sharing that we are actually using this every day in real business use cases. And that's where you start simple. And that's what I shared in these two videos. And you see that you don't need to build a fully fledged app. You just need a simple website that shows you the data in a nice way. If Paco says, I integrated Slack to communicate with my AI, this is amazing. This is where it becomes natural, like for me using Intercom, the support system that we have behind myICOR, where I was doing the support tickets, and now it was clear. I'm working with a person in there. I know how to work with people in support ticket systems, and I just replicated the same thing with checks. And now he's doing actual work. It's not Finn, that's the AI that the support ticket system provides, but I built my own AI agent working as a person inside this ticket system. And this is a huge difference, because checks has all the context from everything related to my ICOR, where I would need to feed this otherwise into the system manually each time, and then I have duplicated information and all these things. So if you're aware of these systems in your business already, this is where you can link it up and say, hey, I want to have this communication channel connected to my AI. It doesn't mean that you need to now use Slack or any other things that people recommend. And that's why I shared this here, the Paperclip. Paco, did you come across Paperclip already?
No.
Okay.
Never.
So the thing is, it's pretty new, and all it does, it provides you an interface for your AI team, and you can it's Larry. Okay, what they built here is exactly how Larry is working. So you have a CEO on top who manages the whole company, and then you hire different people. And before you go there and download it, hear me out, okay? Because I'm not using it. All this does is it gives you, again, these Claude.md files, the instructions for AI, how to hire new AI agents, all the things is what the Paperclip is pre-made. So the moment you start, you have, again, pre-made agents for marketing, pre-made agents for, I don't care. And this is where the orchestration is also pre-made. So this means you, again, hand over these things to a pre-made system. You download a template and you're stuck in this. And I'm not even sure if this is even allowed within the terms and conditions of Claude to use your subscription plan with it, because OpenClaw, if you use this with your subscription plan, you can get banned. But it looks amazing. You have a nice interface there, but you have no clue what's going on behind the scenes. You didn't build it. It's not built for your business. And this is really the thing where, yes, you can get started with all these things, and then you're stuck in this interface. It's not built for your specific use cases. And if we keep building this very simple from the ground up, having a return of investment for individual process steps that were annoying you for years and suddenly they disappear and it's AI doing it, that's much more worth than just going in an overkill thing like this where you say, okay, let's build a whole AI team and so on, and you get things like this. So again, if you look under the hood of this, and if you heard about Paperclip, it's very famous. It has 35,000 stars on GitHub already, and people keep downloading it. It is for free. It's MIT license and all these things. Be aware when you use it that you use something that just somebody else built exactly the way how we teach you how you build your own things. And you can make this interface and all these things. So just for this, I guess Paco won't download Paperclip.
Because no, the thing is that here comes the classical quote of the journey is the destination. Yeah. And here I think that it perfectly fits, because the moment that the way that we have evolved thanks to doing the things ourselves, it's for me the right way. If you want to create something that helps you grow, I'm betting on the mid and long term, because we are long-term people, okay? We want to do things that last, and knowledge. That's why we were able to leverage AI, because we are based on system theory, in cognitive science, and all that. And all that, those are basic principles, and that's what ICOR brings to the table. And the moment that you start building using that solid foundational core, you learn to understand the things, create a solid foundational core of the initial tool that you create, and based on that is when you start doing the cool things, that brings even more added value without any effort at all. For instance, the other day I was showing that, I'm obsessed with journaling and also with receive coaching for each single journal entry that I do, and deep coaching. I want to receive as much as possible, and the thing is that, due to my reality, I cannot read all that coaching, and it's a pity for me, because it's amazing the things that delivers, because it perfectly fits how you think and the outcome that you are expecting. So I was thinking about it. I said, but during the weekend, I'm in a much more relaxed way, I can see, way of living. And I would love to use my iPad to read those outcomes, And the thing is that, and I cannot access my tool because it's local on my iMacs, And I'm not gonna dedicate time right now to create, an app that it's responsive of mobile and all that type of thing, because for me that's a waste of time, I prefer, because I spend most of my time on desktop. So what I want to do is something that really delivers value on desktop, I have done the effort, of, as I am working here and at home, to create an architecture where I consider my eMac at home, like the server, okay, where I'm running daemons there, and we can talk about the processes because, for instance, we can talk about dispatch and how we have seen dispatch on Claude, okay? And and then, well, my eMac at the office is like the workstation, okay? One, it's, well, running processes and delivering outcomes that I can see on Slack, for instance. That's why I wanted to use Slack, because from the office I can perfectly. And those processes don't interrupt me while I'm at work at the office. That is where I spend most of my time. But the thing is that, well, I was missing those coaching outcomes that were impressive because, well, I'm delivering more or less, I don't know, dozens of journal entries every single day, and every single entry has different coaching outcomes. So you can imagine the amount of text and content that I would need to consume. But, well, it's not a matter of reading absolutely it all, but, well, not missing all of them either, okay? So that's why I say, why the heck don't I create a process that at the end of the week goes through all those different coachings and create, you know, like a magazine that I can perfectly read, because once it's a magazine that I can, well, deliver on Markdown, or even going further with PDF, that it's what I did to make even a much more nice user experience, talking about the graphical design. And that's what I created, okay? I created a magazine that, well, goes on autopilot every single Friday, and during the weekend I can go in my iPad and calmly read that PDF, and well, sounds stupid, I know, but, well, it's something that when you need to read something, well, if it's something related to my work that has been delivered by coaches that I have seen the outcome that they deliver, okay? And why not? Much better, in my opinion, than just going randomly through any feed, you know, of any social media, going in here. Or, for instance, something that I have done, I have randomly we have always encouraged the people to bet on serendipity to grow, okay, on a single day. And this is something that, for instance, I have delivered also on Slack. I got a channel that it's randomly choosing between different of my journal entries and the coachings and the milestone and everything. It's a mix of everything, you know, references from the outer world, quotes, whatever, things that inspire me. And I have created a personal feed that combines absolutely everything. And I think that with the huge amount of information that any VC professional tackles every single day nowadays, well, having a specific feed that, well, can bring some value, and in fact, it's not just some value, it's a lot of value, because if not, I wouldn't have done it, okay? Or I have killed, because this is not about doing cool things. This is about delivering things that are really useful, okay? And for me, it's a super easy way of doing the things, promote that serendipity. This is something, and that's why we have always highlighted tools like MyMind with the serendipity, Day One with the on this day, Readwise with the space repetition. But the thing is that right now you can deliver an experience that fit even much better to your reality, because you got an one and only entry point, and the outcome comes out of there. So you have just one tool that those people who wanted that tool for everything, well, you can now design it, okay? And you can start, well, killing all those satellite apps or those utility apps or those tools that were just enhancing maybe a source of input into outcomes that really matters to you, because the moment that you organize the information and the structure is pretty well defined by your criteria, the outcomes obviously will fit much better into your needs. Yeah. And that's something that I'm really happy about.
Yeah, and related to these reports, that's where you again always can extrapolate this into your business too. You get your quotes that are inspiring, but obviously we also have business reports every day, and this is something we leverage more and more. So if I share my screen here, you're using Slack, but I can perfectly show that we are also using ClickUp Chat via the API, where in the support we have checks sending me actually a report every morning in my name, if anything urgent, whatever, I have a direct link to just immediately open up Intercom and start working in there. But also security reports, okay? Every morning, Vex is the AI agent for the support. And for those who don't know Vex yet, let's see. I think he is in the team roster too now. He looks beautiful, a typical security person. So no offense to anybody who is a security person. But let's see. Vex. I'm pretty sure. Here, there he is. Yeah, there we go. No, 0 breaches on my watch. Vex application security. So if you want to learn why he is in our team, everything is on myICOR.com. And this guy is sending me this report every day and telling me if there's anything critical in the code base and so on. And Claude is just getting better and better, actually finding security gaps and things like this. That was always an issue in the past when it comes to this. If you have no knowledge, I'm not saying that we will get secured by AI. There will be always AI also being used to find leaks. So this has also accelerated. And talking about issues, I have Nikki shared a chat comment inside myICOR. He said, banned. We really need to know the shortcuts not worth taking. My business could not handle being banned. And that's correct. And that's where I also saw another comment on my video where I actually shared how you build this AI team from scratch. And I saw this comment here that he built this, and after 24 hours, he got banned by Claude without any reason or explanation. And, you know, it seems like that this was caused because he built what I was sharing here. This is certainly not the reason. I don't know what happened. Okay. And I even share it here because I thoroughly, whenever I started using OpenClaw, and OpenClaw offers you immediately to sign, connect to your subscription, to your max plan, and start working with OpenClaw. And this is what gets you banned. They're on the blacklist for Anthropic, and this is considered automating your AI. And that's why I already wondered, then it's not allowed to have cron jobs or loops or anything running in your AI, but this is all allowed. It's also allowed to build an interface. All the things. What Anthropic actually wants to avoid is that people build systems like this where they, for example, share their accounts. You're not allowed to share your AI account or your Max Plan account with anybody else. You're also not allowed, something I did in the past, but I stopped immediately. I realized when I ran out of tokens, instead of going over usage where you pay via API costs, I switched the account to another account that I was also paying $200 in addition, saying, well, I pay $400 per month, but it was worth it for the coding. Now I no longer have the second account running. I go overtime and run into these API costs. And for sure, there will be price increases. I cannot imagine that we will stick to these pricings that we see nowadays. It will be disruptive if people are used to something and they pay for this, and this is not sustainable for their business like Anthropic anymore. This could be a big thing. But right now, how we are leveraging it, $200 per month, I don't know, $2,000 per month is still, I'm not saying you should increase it to $2,000, please don't, but it is still worth it. I mean, just considering hiring one person that works on all the different things along with me and all the, brain damage that these people do to me in the past, where I had to do the work in the end myself anyway and things like this, it's already worth it, because for $2,000, who do you want to hire? Who wants to work for you 8 hours a day if they work 8 hours for $2,000? That's really the thing. And this is not just one person replaced here with our AI team that we are using in only this one business. We're not even talking about the the things that you get for yourself. This is already worth it. And now, if we think further about this and think about a personal professional, if I think back in corporate and I'm able and allowed in certain cases to use AI, I consider again the time I'm worth per hour. And if I save just 8 hours per week using AI, and it's a lot more than that in the meantime, then it's again worth the money because I can actually bring value to the company. I get seen as the overperformer, right? And it's effortless for me because I don't have the friction. And this was something that was always with ICOR, building a productivity system end to end, where I was able to immediately find the information I'm looking for, being responsive, being reliable when people reach out to me, that they get a response in a certain time. All these things, we're already working with AI that made us more successful as business people, but AI is just now off the rails. It's a whole new level. And if people telling you you have time, if you didn't even catch up building a proper productivity system in a digital space, it's impossible to keep catching up. That's why if you join the myICOR, we have the ICOR journey, and you go through personal knowledge management, task management, project management to understand what you're doing on a daily basis and how you optimize this. And you will be shocked how much time this alone saves without any automation or any AI in place. And then now imagine if you have a smoothly running system and you put AI into the equation and it suddenly starts working along with you because everything just makes sense on all levels. It's just insane. I'm addicted to this. That's something I have to say. You get addicted to these things because imagination is really just the limits. That's the thing. Because
and the thing is that it's not just about the time length that or the hours that you can save. It's about that it completely changes how you work. And this is something that for me, it's the cool thing. No matter that, obviously, as we are productivity nerds, okay, we this is for us the best toy possible, because we can finally deliver whatever crosses our mind. But the thing is that, for instance, just using as an example, how I capture the things, okay? I remember when I capture the things that, I sent into an inbox, and then, I had to, triage, distill that inbox, okay? Do the right storage, okay, with the context, with many things. And now, it doesn't matter if it's a reference that I want to grab based on an article, an idea that come to mind related to an article that I want to publish, an idea that I want to, right now, we have, pretty close a convention of one of our companies, and I need to prepare a presentation, okay? So at any moment, any idea emerges, and I quickly capture it, and then it gets triaged perfectly. It gets enhanced. It goes to the project of that presentation. I don't care about that. It's always running on autopilot, and the moment that I go to that project, everything is there. And then I can start thinking with AI together, because it knows the messages that I want to communicate, how I communicate, how I express myself. It's like having many duplicates of yourself, but that have specific skills that I want to, I don't want to become a master and commander about distilling the information on triaging. I want time to think, okay? And the moment that I have everything, I want to get the best out of the information, because people think that just by delegating on AI, they don't grow, they don't think, they don't need to give a structure to the things, they don't. No, the thing is that I am receiving approaches based on, all the knowledge that my PKM has, based on all the information that goes through my life, all the interactions, all the people that I talk to. It's amazing how I am creating connections between multiple things, because right now I can say, for this presentation, based on the last month, is there anything I have bumped into that can help me deliver this key message? But I am the one who decides the key messages, how I want to motivate my team, how I want to express the current situation we're going through. All that, I think that we are buying time to think, okay? And that's what I was missing the most. And I think that that's what happens to most of the professionals, that they don't have time to think. They need to do so many huge amount of tasks related to things that are simple, that can be delegated if you can delegate to someone that really knows how you think. That was the difficulty, okay? That's why hiring people or doing whatever you can think of, no matter the productivity system that you have behind, and we have impressive productivity system, and well, fortunately that we have them in the past, okay? Because if not, it would have been even much harder to achieve the moment that we have achieved right now. But with AI now, for me, that's the pivotal moment that now everything makes all the sense, okay? Yeah. And that's what I'm feeling, that sense of release, okay, and peace of mind, because I see that a lot of things that no matter that they were streamlined, but they, require, for instance, right now I'm talking about...
I need to interrupt you because you go to the next topic, and I want to address something you mentioned, the time for thinking, okay? So, because that's something we heard a lot from the systems that we share here with the AI folder that we create and so on. And I said, I move on from Heptabase, okay? I killed Heptabase. I'm no longer using a dedicated PKM tool anymore. And now the question comes, but what about deep thinking? You used Heptabase for the visualization and all these things. How do you then do deep thinking? And you just told us exactly this. I never thought so deep than in my local folder. That's the crazy thing, really. Whenever I think about it, it's a local folder, and I get more out of this than out of any PKM tool that I used before. And now the visual thing that's missing, I don't care. If I really need to visualize something, so far I didn't need anything, because I can always ask, create me a diagram or whatever, and I can reflect on this without me doing anything. But if you really want to do that, then use a piece of paper and draw things out and make a picture of it and send it to your AI agent. There you have it. And then extract the things that you need. This is the insane things. That's where people think they need additional tools. And obviously Heptabase, where people manually connected information and the cross connection. That was the next question. How do you do this there? This is what I completely handed off. That's where I say you have to have a proper AI behind that understands, if you talk about a person and this person works in a business, that the business and the person gets automatically connected. And that's something that we teach, right? These foundations again. And they apply here, and now AI takes over. And that's why it's PKA, Personal Knowledge Assistance, and not PKM. I'm no longer doing any management of my knowledge. This is the friction that Paco was referring to, that removes even more time that I spend managing my knowledge, because I'm handing this over. Is this confirming what you just said, Paco?
Yes, totally, because the example that I was going to use is related to right now that, for instance, I'm dealing with ideas for my presentation, but I didn't say, well, out of this I can create an article for my ICOR app, okay, and the content that we publish. Boom, I quickly tell the AI, the system, to create that article, and it creates the draft. It gives me its guidelines, an outline, a recommendation, whatever. That the moment that I go to that draft, most of the things are already done, okay? I can go into writing mode, create the main key points, and tell the AI to help me deliver an outcome out of that based on the context, because that's the thing. That's the moment that we are delivering a huge and insane amount of context to AI. And that's what brings the outcomes that we have always expected. This is something that it's amazing, because based on that, the growth, okay, of your AI system and PKA, it's natural, okay? Because based on those things, you think, well, and now, what if out of this I can create, for instance, here in that...
Sorry to interrupt you again, but I want to pick up on what you said about the context here. That's a perfect segue into talking about dispatch that you mentioned earlier. And I want to show the people the dispatch feature inside Claude. Here I'm inside Claude, and here's my testing, trying to make this work for me. And it just is a total mess, because you have no context at all. So I just wanted to reach out via my phone if it finds anything which I knew it is in my, if I would just open Larry in the folder, I would have instantly received this document that I'm looking for. Here it started to look into Google Drive. It has no clue. Then I said, can you navigate well, that was when I was testing the computer. No, that's blocked. So Spotify is blocked. And I started many things here, different dispatch things where I tried it here, like these things. And it never was able to actually open the folder and spawn itself inside the folder. It didn't know what I want here. And that's why I think, what the heck? We start again having, it's disguised as co-work. It's co-work, but it seems to be a disguised chat, because all I get out of this is just an empty shell with no context in place that you just mentioned here. That's why, to me, this is not working. What I would do instead, I open up the terminal and have a session there with Claude, or actually in VS Code, but I'm showing you now this simple version here, okay? And then what I do in this one, I hit /remote control, and now I have a remote control session. You see remote control active. This means that now I can just use my you've used 100% of your session limit. I can use my phone now. And that's it. I can directly write with my phone. I can use it. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. And I don't know, do you use this remote at all, Paco?
No.
No, okay.
No.
But
no,
I just need, you just go on your mobile on Code, okay? The normal Claude app that is there, you open up Code, and then you say anything you like. I say, hi, see, it just appeared here without hands off. Hi. And now, what can I do here? And if I spawn this inside my Larry folder and I have this remote, I have continuous access to this folder and to the Claude.md file and all the things. And I don't know what this dispatch should do here for me. This is all the things where they try to make things easy for the people, but in the end, it's just confusing, because that's exactly it. You lose the context by using things like this.
Yeah, because what you have just said about deep thinking and all that, well, talking about myself, well, the connections, between ideas and areas of my life that now AI is delivering to me is something that I have never achieved. What you have just said, for instance, right now I don't know how many processes, okay, I'm running in my system. So I told to create the Bible, okay, of the system, so that it's everything perfectly documented and stored. And I say, well, create a diagram of this specific process, and it's impressive. It's impressive because it's just asking for things and receiving amazing things. It's beyond, far beyond the thing that you were expecting. The thing is that obviously we start raising the bar and the moment that we receive something, and that's why I will encourage the people to never feel frustrated because the first outcomes are not good enough, because I think that that's the moment that a lot of people think that this is not for them, and they stop using this technology. And I think that that's a big mistake. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, until we achieve this point, we had I can share one of my Slack channels that is operations, where I receive feedback and notification based on my operations, and now it's full of red dots. Okay, because I was trying a process and it was failing and failing and failing. And I say, well, man, I need to reformulate this, because the moment that this process works, it will be life-changing for me. I can stop dedicating time to something that I literally hate, okay? And that's the thing. That's what gives me the boost of motivation. First off, that I haven't set any goal that I haven't achieved based on Claude Code, okay? Nothing at all, okay? Nothing at all. At the end, I have achieved the outcome that I was expecting, and I have released myself of a lot of processes and tasks that I did really hate. And I think that gives you all the motivation you need to keep doubling down on this technology, because how long have we, spent in many other tools like Obsidian, like Notion, like all those cool tools that were open enough so that we can create specific setups and all those things. I don't know how many attempts I have done on Tana to create the super task system and the connections and everything. So why the heck are we not gonna dedicate time to a system that we are seeing, that we are crafting to our own needs? I think that it deserves 100%. The opportunity. It deserves receiving outcomes that are kind of nonsense, but you will see that the more that you iterate in this feedback loop, the outcomes are much better, not only about the process that you are trying to implement, but the future ones. And you will see that the moment that you think, for instance, what I have just shared about the magazine that I receive every single week, well, it took nothing to elaborate that piece of content that for me it's fantastic, useful, and it took nothing based on, well, all the previous iterations that I made for any other processes, because the moment that you start understanding how you can teach the AI system, how it can take advantages for many other processes that are not directly connected to the process that you are working on, and you start to create those standards, approaches, and overall pictures, okay? That's why it's important to have agents that have different visions and perspective of your own system, okay? Is the moment that you start, seeing the patterns, but facilitating the AI to detect those patterns. So the moment that they start creating a new process, a new workflow that you want to implement, those patterns will be used to deliver the outcome that you are expecting. Yeah. And I think that that's the feedback loop that people need to find out.
100%. And the thing is, I can again show you what Paco is saying here. That's where people just give up too early with these things. They do a few chatbots, and then they are frustrated that there's no persistent memory and all these things. Or then they look up some YouTubers telling you some hacks and things that are inspiring, but don't give you a proper system end to end. And what is possible with AI? You see inside myICOR. I mean, the whole application that you are in is built with Claude Code and me. This is it. And obviously a backend database and all the things that you need in addition. But I want to show you, I share my screen, what AI is really capable of. Am I sharing already? Yeah, okay. So here are the courses, right? And the images are now generated by AI too. That's not something special. You can go to Nano Banana and do this yourself. What I'm really shocked about what AI accomplished, right, in our business is the lessons themselves, because we had in these lessons, and I'm not sure if I can quickly, if it is even still there, the old membership in Mighty Networks to compare it. Let's see. Okay, they changed a few things here. Yeah, we already canceled the membership. By the way, over 3,000 euros per year that we paid for Mighty. That is gone now. That's all. If we look at how much money we saved doing the things ourselves, but you need to know what you're using it for. Okay, it seems I can no longer open these things up. They deleted all the things. Yeah. I'm not sad about this. But the thing is, each lesson had a video and a magic slide and a few bullet points. That was it. And now the video becomes the minor thing of the lesson, because thanks to AI, we didn't generate random content. We built over nearly 1,000 articles, videos, and podcasts that we doubled down on the concepts and workflows that we teach inside these courses. So now AI had all the context, and we're able to expand these lessons with, well, 30,000 words each lesson, but it's not nonsense. We have everything. I went through these things, and I'm always shocked, because if you read the book, this is where you can really dive now deeper, and you see people highlighting this stuff as well. And this is insane. And obviously this is then overwhelming. So obviously we have a TLDR, so you can quickly understand what this concept is about. It created a cheat sheet, and that's what I wanted to get to, right? This is generated by AI. And if people say AI cannot do any beautiful things, well, that's a personal opinion. I love this. And this is where, this is HTML, okay, for anybody who is interested in this. This is not Nano Banana creating this. This is based on Iris which is our design agent, who is aware of all our design language and all these things. It is Charter. Well, let's go again to give you a visualization of all this. And then I show you the latest iteration of this in the end. So that's why I wanted to share this. So we have here Charter. This is Charter. She's doing these social media images that you see. She's doing diagrams and all the things. And then we had Iris that I mentioned. She is this one. She's doing the visual concepts and the design management. She came up with the new design for myICOR and all these things. And then we have also Vera. She's a QA. She's always going through the things if the things that were created by the team is actually aligning with what was said. And then last but not least, we have Pixel that you might have seen already, right? He's doing thumbnails and all these things, but also images. And now, if they are always working highly productive with each other and as a team, the outcome is then that I can start combining things. And just today I said, let's combine Charter. She's doing the HTML graphics with Pixel to create nano banana images into things like this. So we have a combination of images with text. And I don't know about you, Paco, you haven't seen it yet, but well, this is something you will send to a designer and wait for a while until you get this out of this. And this is what happens when you start building iteratively. That's not something we had 2 months ago when Larry, there would have been bullshit when I asked for this. But you need to understand the different components. Like there is a slide deck I want to create, and you start simple. And then this works perfectly. And then you start with the next one to extend this. And this is where you then get to more and more, where you just randomly say, I have this idea. And you have a whole team with specialists who already work along with you the way you want. And it starts to produce all these things.
Yeah, and also to start combining different LLMs, because that's something important, okay? The moment that you understand that, for instance, Nano Banana is really amazing about generating images based on a prompt, but the prompt needs to be, well, as good as possible. And you create that prompt by using, for instance, Claude Code that knows all your context so that the prompt it's really well. But then you say, well, but I want to put some text into this image. And well, that Nano Banana, it's something that doesn't work well. But then Claude Code can create a script that based on the font size and whatever they create and they combine, and the end product at the end is controlled by your main AI system. And this is how you achieve the things. I'm going to share here something so people get the point that this is not about just having all those agents. Talking about how I define the architecture, okay, of the multi-machine setup that I have. I will share my screen right now.
I need to add you.
You will see.
I didn't prepare for that. 1 second.
Okay, sorry.
Where are you, man? Too many windows and displays. Okay, it's insane.
Now I got it.
You're sharing?
I got
it. But it's not. I have to.
Now.
Okay. So you weren't sharing it. Okay. Now, okay. Well, it wasn't on my end then.
So here, okay. Here you can see, okay, the structure. Okay, what we say about deep thinking. Well, for me, this was just plain text, okay? Not even an outliner or whatever. It was just text, not easy to see. Well, I create here the structure with the Slack, my home iMac, my office iMac, how I concluded that one will be the server, because I was running processes in parallel in both machines, and it was kind of chaotic because they were interrupting one to each other. They were writing in the database together, and then it was a mess the moment that I need to merge, okay, the changes. So I decide, but obviously, if you have a technical knowledge about that, well, you can go further, okay? But here I want just to mention how me that, well, could prepare this story And the moment that I say this, well, I can discuss and keep discussing about the things because now I got a better understanding. For me, this is deep thinking. This is not just shallow thinking that you just wrote down some text and that's it. And also here I structure here my daily sync cycle. I have created a batch that runs at 3 a.m. and everything gets synchronized. Well, here you can think the things that I can handle through my iPhone, and if this makes sense, okay, all these channels on Slack and how, because here, as you can see, then the implementation becomes pretty streamlined because here I'm not reinventing the wheel. Inspiration, these are, here it is, inspiration, okay, the knowledge feed, everything is, making sense little by little. You can use colors, okay, and without having that impressive brand design and all that, you can create things using images that helps you understand a process that, well, it's becoming a little bit complex. As you can see here, we have different software that are, well, a little bit complex, like Slack and GitHub. We got 2 different machines. We got notifications and messages that go from one way to the other. We got here different workflows here, okay, that I can control by using this. And these were things that in the past we're not able to, I couldn't create this just, within minutes.
That's a
okay,
good point
it was a matter of
this up, actually, Paco, as I have another example here, where that's where, again, where I think Heptabase let me really down. I reached out for MCP and, well, we always warn the companies what's coming, and if they don't react, it's on them. The thing is, MCP, they had the chance in Heptabase to make this more accessible. They didn't, and now I switched back to Miro because they are perfectly working with MCP. So this means I had the connection and context for our myICOR application. I needed now to understand a better understanding of, instead of going into the details, to explain how our app is structured. And that's outdated in the meantime here, but this was what I did past then. Please use Miro and create this. I didn't change a thing. Look at this, okay? So you can now bring the team in and work with the team together in here. I mean, real human team. And you work in here because Miro is collaborative, and that's what you can use to prepare a meeting or anything like this. And this is, again, for me, the deep thinking. I don't need to get started with the momentum about all this, but I can kickstart my deep thinking with AI. This is the crazy thing. I say, spit something out that is related to what I need to think about, and this is where I can get started, and it gives me all the detail, and then I could refine all this. But this is a perfect example where I just connect again to another tool that I would never kill for this purpose, right? What I not try to replace or rebuild with AI. I'm leveraging something that is way beyond what I actually would be able to build for myself using AI. And these are the things that you need to figure out, the differences between something simple to replace, like convert an image into a PDF file. Yeah, great. That's something you don't need an app anymore. But trying to build ClickUp and a project management system with goal management and all these things, yeah, if this is your calling, then do it. But this is probably the only thing that you will do for the next month. That's the thing. We are busy. We are already in our business daily work. We cannot afford to put in all the effort with all these things. And I don't know if you want to add anything here, Paco. Otherwise, I would go through the comments. That
I would like to share also, so people get the point of how powerful this is, okay? Yeah. For instance, talking about documentation, because this is something that we want to have the things, the moment that we are into a vast area of knowledge or whatever, we want to quickly have all our thoughts, streamlined and organized. And how do we do that, okay? Do we start with, the outlining and or whatever, or connecting cards and using backlinks and things like that? Well, here I got the guides, okay? And in guides, I have different areas, okay? But let's go to the coding guide, okay? And the coding guide here, I will zoom in because I think that it's, but here it has created just out of our conversations, my journal entries, everything, a structure of my, journey through coding when I decided to go back.
Paco, sorry, I have to interrupt you here because I'm sure many people watching this and they will ask, what app is this that you're using there? But this is
this is the app that I called Mindset.
Correct, and that's what I showed you in these YouTube videos, what we built from scratch, and we ended up with an interface. It is just a few months down the road when you start building on top of it, and this is the amazing thing. Look how amazing this looks.
We are not lying, because here, here it's the story, okay? What changes in 24 years? Because I had been 24 years without coding at all, okay? And here it says, okay, the first entry is from November 27, 2023, okay? Paco joined to Zero Mastery. This, in 2023, I made a first attempt to go back to the world of coding to know what was going on, because I wasn't aware at all, okay? But, it was too complicated for me. I was, too busy, and it was impossible for me to dedicate time to start understanding the architecture, the different languages. Well, the thing is that here it says on January, 11, 12, something shifted, no course, no natura, a decision to build something real, okay? Mindset, a personal knowledge management system powered by AI. In one weekend, Paco went from no GitHub account to a working repository with an SQL-like database, Git workflow, and folder structure, okay? The thing is that here, I have the structure of how I work, how we are gonna organize the things. Here it's how I, analyze, agree, develop, verify, okay? This is the loop that I work with AI, okay? I analyze with Claude, okay? They explain, I agree, okay? Because obviously I have a knowledge, a background, okay? That helps me to create parallelism between my own knowledge and the current knowledge that I need. And here I can navigate through that, the architecture decisions, why we need a database, what kind of database we use, okay? The technical stack, what we do, the front end, the back end, everything, it's here pretty well structured with no effort. I mean, I didn't think about this story. Here I got, based on the different journal entries, the different milestones, okay, of this story, okay? And here, we say the numbers nowadays, they are out of date, but here we have 154 database tables, 3,096 journal entries, 319 coaching sessions. What I said about, for instance, the guides, talking about the magazine, for instance. This is the weekly magazine that I receive every single Friday in this case. Here I can read it on desktop, but here I have the, the PDF version that I have created. And here it's like a magazine. I can read it, okay? I can go through it.
This is amazing.
Up and down.
See, this is where people then...
this is the moment that you say, man, here we got agenda meetings, a message that I sent to my wife, but here I got the, here the milestone that we had with the 90K. This is, I just created this entry, ladies and gentlemen, 90K subscribers on our YouTube channel. An image, okay? And that was it. That was it. It creates everything, then rich description.
Yeah, it was just a screenshot, right, that you extracted. Yeah. That's the same thing here for me too.
Correct.
I just give it a screenshot and it creates the things for me. And what you share here, this is what you want to enjoy on an iPad.
Correct.
Right? So you can send this now via email automatically, and you receive this, you open this up on
in fact, the thing is that it's in a...
obviously,
you're
right.
In an eCloud folder, that I have, that I can perfectly access within just one click. I don't need to send, to use email, to bet on asynchronous communication. But this is just one out of thousands of examples that constantly emerge because they deliver value. I was reading this weekend, this PDF, obviously not all the PDF, okay, because it's 150 just in 1 week. Imagine here we are aware of the information that go through our lives just in one. Here the PDF has, here I got it. It has 159 pages of text.
But this shows how much
formatted text, okay? But the thing is that, I read, I don't know, 10, 15, whatever, 20 pages, but I was enjoying because I was receiving value. I was able, that's for me the pure journaling experience. Instead of just sitting down and start divagating, I'm thinking while I'm reading and, well, creating some additional notes that, by the way, I created as an intermediate tool. I use, in this case, Raycast note-taking app to create some notes on my mobile, and then I copy and paste, put it on the inbox on Slack, and boom, it was processed. Create another journal entry based on that, and that's how you are constantly interacting with your system, because that's what we need. We need a system that it's perfectly fit into our real lives, you know, delivering value at any moment, and without any friction. Right now, I didn't know anything about a specific information. I just write a prompt and it quickly delivers the things that I am expecting. It delivers an image. It delivers a PDF that I store. It delivers everything because everything is interlinked. And this is something that, for instance, going from Slack to, this is the exact same principles that we have used talking about, well, please create a link to interconnect the system. Well, that's what we are doing here. But the thing is that right now, if my AI system creates a notification on Slack, I told the AI system to put a link to that journal entry, okay? Because that's one of our thousands of different principles that we've been using for decades, and now AI never misses the point. And this is the moment that I receive a notification, well, I can quickly navigate and get into my AI system effortlessly.
We need to double down on this, all the amazing things that we shared here. It starts with the foundations. This is so crucial that you know, this is where the PDF, I'm sure, Paco, it wasn't the first thing that you thought of to do with AI. This is something that comes out of because you think, well, you could probably also do this, and you just ask and you see what happens, and you will be shocked because it is just leveraging itself, all the things that you build over time. But that's where the foundation is so important to get right. And now let's get, we are completely over scheduled.
And just one thing, just one reflection, one quick reflection that how the heck can I do that, this PDF feature, in any other tool that combines everything? Because here I'm combining reference out of the outer world, reflections that I have done, coaching out of different agents, because I have specific coaches for different areas of my life. How the heck do you get that? Beware, within minutes. Because that's the other thing. Okay, obviously, at the end you can create everything, but if it takes you 1 month of work, what the heck?
That's
it's
exactly
impossible.
It. People have their amazing Obsidian or Heptabase or Notion, and they keep still trying to get the external information into it and have then the manual work to extract the information from the different places. And the next question is, how can I connect these things together so these things happen automatically? Yeah, then you have an automation like, okay, I sync my tasks with ClickUp or what the heck. Man, I've seen so many automations that are complete nonsense just for the sake of having automations. And this is exactly it, Paco. People don't realize if you have, this is a real all-in-one solution when it comes to personal knowledge management, because it's really built for yourself. And I want to dive into the chat, because I'm pretty sure this will take a while too to go through this. There are many interesting things here too. And then we probably need to expand this thing to 1 hour anyway, because it's impossible to stay on 30 minutes each Monday. So yeah, ICOR rocks. Thanks so much. Here we have, I'm smart, but learning. All our members are smart. That's the thing. That we don't have people who losing in life and so on. All of you guys hit a ceiling with the things that you've been doing. You can no longer take on new opportunities and things like this. That's what you're realizing. You need to optimize your system. And this is where you usually join us and do ICOR. So you're not alone. I truly want to get these systems designed, and you will. And here, David joined last week. I started using Terminal and built a PKM, including a team this weekend. By the way, I faked the thing here, okay? So I already planned out next time I will have a proper chat thing we can share. This is really interesting to see all these things from you guys. So he has millions of questions. Yes, Inner Circle is tomorrow. Every Tuesday, Paco and I go live, and you can join as an Inner Circle member to ask any questions that you might have. Then joined yesterday, excited to learn, build for my life and business is great. Meet everyone, absolutely welcome. New one here. I did build a journal. Perfect. Let us know then how it goes. And I'm sure there are things, that was something we discussed already with the band. And here, the mention with the $2,000 per month, right? So he shares here, I just let 10 employees go because they were messing up our data, inventory, UPC, library, order, execution, and not reading emails. Claude will get those done. This is, I mean, it sounds really harsh to let people go and all the things. But if you've been a business owner and you worked with people who are just sitting there and costing money, this is just something that's not on us, but on the people in the business. If you have value that you bring to the table, and that's why we strongly defend that it's not the AI that business owner or team leader needs to put on top of the business and force people to use it now. It is by empowering the individual team members to understand what they're doing, optimizing their work, and leveraging their own AI team as an expert to become more productive in this business. And those people will stay. That's just what it is. So yeah, he just confirmed the things with the $2,000 per month. And I'm new and loving the system you've built, both ICOR and the AI system, Larry. As I go through the courses, it feels like some elements are now superseded by the AI build. Thanks. Is there a question as well? Yes. Have I got that? Okay, I have to read the whole thing. Paco, you read it already. He's the speed reader here.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about if he needs to learn Obsidian and all this stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The thing is that there's no need. Okay. The thing is that we need to understand that at the end, everything is zeros and ones. We have to take into account that. Okay. That at the end, no matter how we deliver those zeros and ones, that is the binary, that the computer still at this moment, it's what they understand. I don't know if the moment that they become, natural entities, this will change. But at the end, it is what it is. Okay. Yeah. So at the end, everything is about code and databases. Okay. The database create the structure of the information, and the processes, the scripts, whatever you name it, they create, how to get the best out of that data that you have previously stored. Okay, obviously the data can be stored in a database, but also on files. Okay, that's why the combination of files and databases, and this is something that we will explain, because I think that people don't understand why they need to use files or when they need to use a database. And this is something important because we can see and we force the things. For instance, there are the moment that you start working with Claude Code and you understand these main concepts, you can, better understand why you need a specific process to be handled by a script, by a software that runs linear from top to bottom, following a process, because you can see that the moment that you deliver that responsibility to a skill that it's in a MD file, a markdown file, that the AI reads that randomly, you will see that it jumps over specific steps. And the moment that you have something that is really straight, that doesn't need that flexibility that AI brings to the table, that's something that you do with a script. But the thing is that you don't need to code that script, that script will be coded by AI, You just need to understand the concept, the workflow, that goes behind that, and also ask AI, do you think that this can be delivered through a skill that is on our markdown file, or should we create a script? And that's how you start interacting. And the moment that you move to that level, you don't need not only Obsidian, but any other PKM tool, because those PKM tools and note-taking tools are just ways to enter information the system. I keep using Tana, but it has become much more a note-taking tool than a PKM tool. That was the purpose.
By the way, again, Tana, something people don't understand the difference. Note-taking app equals PKM tool for so many people, and it's not. That's why we have separate courses. We have a digital note-taking like a pro course and a PKM like a pro course, and those both combined. One is the input stage and the other one is the control stage. And now what we are shifting here is the control stage really stays in a local folder here in this case, or then later on even on databases. So there are many things people reach.
But that's why this is the moment that we can see that it's important to understand. If someone doesn't know the difference between note-taking and PKM, knowledge management, personal knowledge management, it's really difficult to start taking the best out of how you use the tool and why. And because people will say, but man, you say that you have stopped more or less to use Tana, but now you see that you use it to create the input of the information. What the heck are you talking about, you know? And the thing is that the moment that you have those basic concepts, no matter that we have 50-something on ICOR, but you need to understand them because it's how you can start knowing which is the best tool to do something. For instance, in my PKM tool, doesn't make sense to create an outliner that for me at a specific processes, it's important to use the outlining technique to better structure the things that I want to explain to my AI system, okay? So I use Tana as a utility app, okay, that I can perfectly outline because the outlining experience on Tana is simply amazing, okay? And I can quickly and then move that outlining that I have just done on Tana into the AI system that I have created, okay? So that's why it's so important to understand those concepts, because if not, you end up, well, wondering why, for instance, does it make sense to learn Obsidian or not? These are the type of doubts and questions that get immediately replied the moment that you create that solid foundational core from where you can. And that's why we put the effort on creating that ICOR journey, because it's something pretty easy to digest. And we have seen how many people, thousands of people, have changed their approach to the world of productivity. Yeah. And based on that, they create the right tool stack, okay? And then they start leveraging AI with no limits at all.
And I got this comment on YouTube as well, but I'm using Obsidian and you forcing me to do this, to ditch Obsidian, but it's so much better using it. And guys, use whatever you like as long as it's working for you. I showed you just Miro as an example. We are using still other tools, but we know how we use it. And as Paco just described, you need to understand the different systems. If you're still using Obsidian for PKM and note-taking, great. Maybe enhance it a bit just to extract information with AI. If this is enough for you, perfect. So it's not about one or the other. And this discussion goes on for decades already, by the way. It's not something that appeared with AI. It was always talking about what is the best PKM tool and so on. And now it's the funny thing, because people using Obsidian always said, yeah, but I have the files local and I own my data and so on. Now we are the guys saying, don't use Obsidian because you own your data even more than using Obsidian, because Obsidian changes the markdown files in a way that is only readable by Obsidian. And now I'm getting called out that Obsidian is better because it makes more structure or whatever. And
the thing is that people need to be aware what we have shown here just in, well, a couple of minutes about how powerful this is, the Miro diagram that we have created, how we create amazing lessons within our courses, how I have generated an image, you know, that represents my architecture, talking about the server and the workstation, the Slack, the mobile thing, how I have created a PDF. Like for me, this is like a dream. If you ask me how to do this within minutes, you know, just 1 year ago, I would say, even 6 months ago, I would say, man, you are great. This is impossible, man. This takes me time, okay? I need to see how I send things to Miro, okay, based on the things that I have jotted down, and also how I can get this amazing knowledge, okay? I think that now is the moment that we are really managing knowledge instead of just random information that we cannot find out connections and
that's
growth.
Exactly it, what he was sharing here. You know, all the approaches with linking your thinking and things like that is something that was giving us friction, but it was worth the effort in some regards to retrieve the information later on easier. And this is really gone now with AI because, well, it's handed over to AI, and that's a big friction point that is gone for us. Let's move on. So here I have found talking to Gemini keeps me focused, and I gave Claude focused. I was into human. So the thing is, there was another question about this. As far as I remember, I found the same Gemini for casual day. And this is the thing here. That's the one. I ranted at ChatGPT. Me too. I was screaming. ChatGPT just makes me angry whenever I talk to ChatGPT. I don't know why. Maybe it's a German thing. He went through a Gemini and can I switch this and so on. This is exactly what we talk here about. We don't talk use Claude. Like we never said use Tana or Heptabase. And people say, but you always talk about, yeah, we share what we are using. That's the implementation layer to give you examples how it can be used. But man, switch the brain, which is Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, Kimi 2.5, have it running locally, all these things. That's up to you. And you see, is it still responding in the way that I wanted? Is it intelligent enough? Do I have tasks like you guys already shared here that you have different use cases to talking? And I will test out Gemini 2 again because I'm curious about this too. And by the way, we are using Gemini. And the thing that I said was Nano Banana Gemini, but the team works on Claude subscription plan and we use Gemini API to create this. We use ChatGPT or OpenAI to make the embeddings in our databases. So all the different models are working in the background, but the core is still Claude managing all this and leveraging the other tools.
And we pay for all of them, okay? When we make calls using the API, we are spending money on that, okay? So
whenever you ask Jax, Jax sends us the invoice. That's correct. What it is. All right, started a Kickstart last night. Excited to get the point of building. So many meetings today, though. Yeah. That's what we all are. We are busy professionals. And welcome to the show. Kicked up my productivity with Claude. She tells me, so great. Amazing. Whenever you share these things, go into the discussion section of the inner circle and share your wins there. This is amazing because then the chat stays persistent too. But this is great stuff. Okay. Guys, thanks so much for sharing all the love as well and being with us and trusting in us as well. What a long session again, Paco. I tell you, it's impossible to have
but it's beautiful to share and to see how things are evolving also for our people, because that's what we are, that's why we want to create the best learning platform, talking about productivity for busy professionals, okay, for the world of business and corporates, because we want those owners, CEOs, project managers, all those people, freelancers, owners, all those people who we perfectly know their lives because it's the life that we are living. That's why the moment that we say that something is working for us is because we have evidence, because we have gone through the path, because we have suffered, because we have overcome all the obstacles. And that's something important, that the things that we share is, and that's why we are showing our tools, okay, and applications, so that it's clear evidence that is not just, well, I think that you should do this because you can get this. No. Do this because you will get this. It's out of doubt, okay? It's something that we have used, that we know how to reframe, and also we know how to make things easier, okay? That's why it's a learning platform, myICOR. It's a learning platform where we try our best to make all this crazy world that goes so fast something easy to digest for the people that we know that they don't have time, that most of them are not so nerdy as we are, so they hate a little bit this technology, but they know that they are missing out, okay, that even their lives with this support coming from technology will improve the way they work, the way they think, the decision-making process. I cannot tell how many decisions I have made much better thanks to having the proper information at the right time and the right place, okay? And all those type of things are the common processes that any professional is leading with every single day, I would say, not even week.
Amen. Exactly this.
Correct.
Everybody, we catch you up next week with Opus Mythos on the front door, seeing there. Let's see if it happens this week. And you can be sure we will test it first. Catch you up inside myICOR. See you guys.
Okay. See you, and thank you so much.